Greetings duelists and welcome to another video. Welcome to Deck Report week number 9 of season 3. If you're looking at this playmat right now on the screen, we did it, boys. We topped our regional. For those who don't know what's been going on in this channel, I have been practicing for the Puerto Rico regionals this upcoming weekend, which was on November 2nd. And I practiced a lot of different decks. I tried a lot of different strategies, and we pulled through. I managed to get 6th place after Swiss. It was a total of 7 rounds. My record was 5-1-1. I lost in the final round, and I tied against the player who ended up undefeated in the 5th round. Congratulations to all my fellow players who ended up at that event. So what I'm going to be doing, for those who are unfamiliar with my channel, I'll be giving a brief deck profile first. I'll be showing you the list. After that, I will talk about what led to my decision in choice of the deck building decision and the deck choice that I made. And then I'll talk about the event itself and how did I ended up with my record. But yeah, another disclaimer that I'm going to give is if the audio quality does not sound great, I do really apologize for that. I have been having mic issues with my setup as of late, and there's no real way to fix it at the moment. That is in the off chance that it does sound a little bit Yankee. I do appreciate everybody who sticks around for a deck profile and just wants to see a list. I will put a timestamp in the end, like I did for my first K event, which I topped in January, because this will probably be a very lengthy profile. But yeah, without further ado, let's begin. So the deck I chose for the event was Ritual Beast. I'll show you the list first, and then we'll get to all the explanations right after. So 2 Elder, 3 Kanahawk, 3 Rampengu, 3 Lara, and then 1 of the Tamer names. That's 16 in total. Three Shifter, and the Nemesis. So for spells, 3 Teleport, 3 Inheritance, 3 Talents, 3 main deck Cosmic Cyclone, 3 Eclipse, Call Belgrave. That's it for spells. And the traps, 3 Infinite Impermanence and the Ritual Beast Steeds. The total main deck is 42. Let's go to extra deck. Anima, Cross Cheap, 2 Kimu Falcos, SP, Ratiari, double Kanahawk. This is badly sorted. 2 Noku Dragos, Apelio, Guy Apelio, Colossus, Banshee, and the last card on my list is Baguska. That's the first deck. Side deck, 3 Ash Blossoms, my bad, 2 Drolls, 3 Fidgers, Duster, Triple Purge, and Triple Dimensional Barrier. Okay, so I usually do explanations behind the deck, but I do want to talk about how I got to choose Ritual Beast in the first place. For those who have already tuned into my channel and saw past deck reports, you guys already know I tested Fire Kings, I tested Centur-ion, I tested a few other deck choices, and the the thing about it is I really didn't feel comfortable playing any of them. I like with Fire Kings, the problem was I was breaking too much, and I refused to play the Witch engine because I feel like the Witch engine, even though it gives the deck a higher ceiling, it just makes it very susceptible to a lot of cards. Like you just lose to many common hand traps like this format if you're not too careful. Centur-ion felt really great. I think as a mid-range deck, Centur-ion is fantastic. It's one of the better choices that I had. But the issue that I have with Centur-ion is I had a lot of hands with a lot of hand traps, and even though my non-engine was enough to stop my opponent, uh, Centurion's engine is a little bit too fragile, and if your opponent has really good blowout cards, they just going to shut you out of the game, and they'll recover from the non-engine that you just throw at them. Like in testing with Centurion, I've lost to so many really strong cards. Like for example, Sudden Judgment on my Synchro Summon. That like is a really pivotal thing. Uh, Cosmic Cyclone on the field spell. That's a really pivotal choke point to the deck as well. Book of Eclipse to my monsters. Like that's another tough one. Like I just felt that there were strong non-engine cards that just would play through what Centurion wants to do. So what led to my decision for Ritual Beast? So if you've been on this channel, you already know I played Ritual Beast before Radio the Abyss format. And post Radio the Abyss, a lot of people were skeptical on the deck. And I won't lie, I also was skeptical because of the popularity behind Fualas and Dominus Impulse. But as I tested every deck, I just arrived to the conclusion that Ritual Beast was almost perfect for me. Like, the deck's engine is just really, really strong. And yes, there are some strong cards that just force you to play like very mid range, like Full Loss and Impulse. However, I just felt that if my opponents were playing also mid range strategies, my deck would do way better against them. Like if I were to go head to toe against Centurion or like other decks like those, like I just felt the deck's engine was powerful enough to just handle them. The other thing to note is that not many people are prepared for Ritual Beast. Like a lot of people just to this day still like don't understand what the deck does, except for actual real Ritual Beast players or people who actually just touch the deck. So that also gave me a competitive edge. I did not face a single mirror match all day. I think I was one of the only Ritual Beast players at that event. Against the more popular decks, against like Yubel, Tenpai, and Snake Eye, the only iffy one for me was Yubel, because I did not practice against the deck enough. But against Snake Eye and Tenpai, I feel just super comfortable with the deck. Like I have win conditions like Shifter and Protos. I have like another win condition in the name of Colossus. Like again, if I'm forced into playing mid range, uh, that's where my decision came in. So overall, by Tuesday this week, so 2 days before like the October 31st, so on October 29th, I already made my decision. I already was sold on Ritual Beast. This was the deck I was going to take for that event. Um, Now let's talk about the deck choice. Um, Now that I talked about the deck itself. So, the first thing you probably noticed is I only play 2 Elder. So, if you've been on this channel for the longest time, you already know I've played with 2 Elders in the past. And this isn't like the worst decision ever. One issue that Ritual Beast commonly has is if you open either all beasts or all tamers. Elder does not play well into any board if I pair him up with another tamer not named Lara. And you're probably thinking, well, doesn't Winda count as 2 tamers, like tamer and beast as well? Yeah, well, she does, but on under established boards, this doesn't do a lot. If you're going first, this also doesn't do a lot either. Like, you're forced into like playing passively, doing the ulti Kanahawk plays. So, like, unless I'm opening Rampengu, Kanahawk, or Lara, Elder was just not a great opener. And if you're opening like Lara, Rampengu, Kanahawk anyway, you're already playing the game because these are all starters. Except for Lara. Lara is an extender, but Lara is pretty much the best extender out of all of them. So that's what led my decisions for playing only 2 Elder. I did not miss the third one at all. Like, the deck did super fantastic. So that was the first deck building decision that is kind of unorthodox when it comes to this deck. So that's one odd choice. Another odd choice is the non-engine. You're probably noticing all the power spells. And you'll probably notice that I did not play that many hand traps. So my logic behind that was Ritual Beast's engine is good enough to play through a lot of half boards. Like, half boards mean nothing to Ritual Beast if you open well enough. So I figured instead of just relying on hand traps or relying on opening cards to play the game, why don't I just play non-engine cards that just help play through my opponent's boards and just use the Ritual Beast cards as the backbone to just like be a finisher and break their board and help me set up for the mid to late game. Like, Ritual Beast is incredibly good at playing the grind game. Like, the mid to late game means nothing to Ritual Beast if you're already playing. So getting out of the early game real quick was a goal that I had in mind. Now, for the specific non-engine that I chose, the reason behind this 6, I'll talk about these 6 specifically because if you've seen the other cards, these are all common cards you play in Ritual Beast. Imperm is sort of not that common. Some people play it, some people don't. Some people cite it. So I'll talk about these the most because if you know about Ritual Beast, you already know that Eclipse and Teleport are already staples. I'll start with Cosmic Cyclone. We're in a format where removal is really, really important. Like, Sinful Spoils Deception, Nightmare Throne, like Fiendsmith cards, Snake Eye cards, the Temple, the Snake Eyes, Centur-ion Field Spell, like Sanguine Summoning. There's a lot of cards that are sticking to the board that really just helps a lot of players with the pace of the game. And having a tool in your main deck to get rid of them was pivotal. I did not regret this choice. This actually won me like 2 to 3 games in my regional as well. And the one player that ended up undefeated at my regional, I probably would have won that match if I would have played a little bit better against them. I will explain that when I talk about my matchups. And I will say that Cosmic Cyclone did give me a very, very competitive edge. So, the logic behind Talents is I don't think Talents is good this format. I think this format does not favor Talents at all. So, that's why you don't see this card in a lot of decks right now. However, going back to what I explained about Ritual Beast, I think Ritual Beast's engine is really, really strong against a lot of decks right now. And if your opponent is letting you play the game with your Ritual Beast cards, you're probably like winning that game because like either with the Nemesis card floodgating your opponent or with just way too much card advantage that you get with the Ritual Beast cards themselves. It's really, really hard for your opponent to stop you. So you're probably going to be forced in a position where your opponent is going to try to hand trap you like enough times, and that's where Talents comes in. Another really good thing about Talents is it goes back to my explanation of how I want to interact with boards in the game and force all my board's interactions out of the game so I can play my Ritual Beast cards and just like secure the mid to late game. And Talents also helps me do that. I lost 5 die rolls today in my 7 rounds. And out of the 5 die rolls I lost, I won them all. I won every single match I lost a die roll. And Talents was really good with helping me with that. So, on that regard, I really, really liked my non-engine. I thought about playing Prosperity. I thought about playing Dark Ruler. I thought about playing like other hand traps, like the Droll and Logbirds that are in my side deck. I did main them at one point. I know that a lot of people who are playing Ritual Beast are probably thinking it's a cardinal sin not main decking this card because of Full loss. But going back to my non-engine explanation, I really didn't fear Full loss at all. I did get Full lost like 4 times, and out of it, every single time I got Full lost, I still won the game. Like, Full loss did not hurt me at all. And the thing about it is, whenever you get Full lost, you just have to think of yourself, what can you do with your engine to make sure your opponent does not play or does not kill you next turn? And that's what I did. Like, almost every game where I got Full lost, I just ended on a half board that made sure that my opponent does not kill you. Because, again, Ritual Beast is not really that bad against the Grand Game. So, if you can secure the mid to late game with this deck, you really should be fine. So, yeah. At this event, I was afraid of 2 hand traps. There are only 2 hand traps that I cared about. I cared about Nibiru, and I cared about Dominance Impulse. Every single other hand trap I just felt comfortable against with this deck because this deck's engine is just really, really strong against those hand traps. Cross Cheap is something that really, really helped me. This was literally my last deck building choice. I put this card in my main deck at 1 a.m. in the morning of the same day of the event, and it overperformed. I played around Impulse with this card. I played around Full loss with this card. I played around Droll and Logbird with this card. I played around like a bunch of other things. And for those wondering, what do I mean by the Full loss thing? What I mean is, there were games where I cleaned my opponent's board they full lost me, and I wanted a way to secure OTKing them through while taking the full loss challenge without giving them too many cards. That's what I meant by that. For those wondering what I'm talking about when I mean full loss. Another card that really helps against the full loss thing, and this goes back to the theory I was talking about, is Baguska. So the only deck that you should be worried about that full loss you game 1 is Tenpai Dragons. And like Baguska puts them on a very awkward position because they literally have to open non-engine for this. Like, if they don't open the Raigeki or the Dark Hole or the Forbidden Droplet or the Imperm, you're not dying this turn. And this goes back to like the explanation of my non-engine. Like, imagine if you have Baguska backed up with like Book of Eclipse, for example, or like backed up with Cosmic Cyclone for field spell, or like have a Ritual Beast name with Steeds, or paired that with like Imperm. Like, it does look dumb, it really does, but legit that has won me games. So that's the explanation behind Baguska. I only summoned it once, but the one time I did summon it, it did like do a lot. So this is a tip for Ritual Beast players in the future. If you do get full lost, just try to stun your opponent for them playing next turn, and you should be okay. Everything else in the extra deck should be like relatively normal for Ritual Beast standards. Okay, so let's go to explanation of my matches, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people wants to figure out how many people did I Protoss and how many people did I Shifter, and the answer might actually surprise you. So 7 Russell Swiss. Round 1 was against Millennium Exodia. I lost the die roll. They went first. My Exodia opponent opened Shifter, and they activated Shifter. Not only that, they opened There Can Be Only One. They were main deck in the Floodgate. And they had Imperm set. And I think that's it. During the end phase, they set the Exodia trap, the one that pops your entire board. And for on my turn, I think I opened Teleport. I opened Triple Tactics. I opened Inheritance, and I think I opened Konohawk. I think I opened Konohawk, Rampengu, I think this was my hand. And my 6th card was... My 6th card, I think it was a Book of Eclipse. So what ended up happening here was I activated the Inheritance, they negated it with the Exodia, I Talents took their Exodia, I normal Rampengu, they impermed it, I did Teleport, I summoned, they flipped the TC-Boo, I linked into the Cross Sheep, banished from Graveyard to summon the Nokodrago. And if you're familiar with Manadium or with like the Scareclaw deck, you should already know what this combo means. So I did Nokodrago, I did Lara's effect to special summon. I then did another. I think I summoned. I don't remember what I summoned, but my opponent scooped right after that. Game 2, My opponent kind of bricked. They opened like 3 pieces of Exodia. Which, hey, that means they were 2 pieces away from winning the game. But unfortunately, that means they kind of bricked. They did summon Exodia with the Ankh and set to him past. And I opened Lara. And opening Lara is really strong against that deck because I went dump Lara to normal summon Elder and then normal Rampengu. He tried to use the Exodia trap to blow up my back row. I banished the Lara, protect my 2 guys, and that was the end of the game. So that was round 1. Round 2 was against Kashtira Azamina Snake Eyes. I also lost the die roll. My opponent full comboed me game 1. He did not play the Fiendsmith engine, so his board was Rabbit, Ilya Silva, Flamberge IP Temple with Oak in the back row. My hand was not very strong, but I did open double Book of Eclipse, and I did open Cosmic Cyclone, and this was really, really strong. That really helped me a lot. I also opened Lara Chronahawk. I think this was my hand. I think I drew Inheritance for turn, and this was enough to break the board. Game 2, there was a point where he did the full combo. I almost tried to break it again, but he did have Dominus Impulse, which was really, really tough to play around. And then game 3, he opened Droll, Imperm Impulse, and I played around all 3 cards. Around all 3 cards, and my end board was the Ulti Ratiari with the Steeds, and I think it was a Cosmic Cyclone. This was my end board. I think I had a Lara on board as well, like the Spiritual Lara. Yeah, this was my end board, and he opened kind of weak. He did not open a way to like break my board. I mean, surprise, surprise, he triple hand trapped me. But yeah, this was enough to win the game. Round 3 was against Sprite. I lost the die roll again. He tried to full combo me, but there was a point where he summoned Gigantic Sprite and I impermed, and he ended on Rabbit, Sprint, Double Cross. And I had that Cosmic Cyclone for the Double Cross. And after getting rid of the non-interruption, I just tried to play around everything else. The statue was not really that hard to play around. And yeah, that was the first game. Second game, he actually opened really strong. He opened Swap Frog, Called by the Grave, Triple Tactic Talents, Triple Tactic Thrust, and I don't remember everything else. I know that my hand was, I opened Dimension Shifter. So that was the first time I opened Dimension Shifter in the entire tournament. Book, Teleport. It was Book, Double Teleport. That and Droll Lockbird. So that was my hand. He normal Swap Frog. I chained Shifter. He Called by the Grave, banished my Shifter. He sent the Mirror Mage. Mirror Mage added, I think it's called Frisian's Chains. The Ice Barrier card. I drolled. He Talenced, looked at my hand. He spun back the Book of Eclipse. And he ended on Toad Set Imperm. For turn, I drew into Talents, and I kind of banked on Talents plus this. He did Toe Negate one of the teleports, and I Talents drew into 2 cards, and I think I drew Inheritance Conahawk. I drew Inheritance Conahawk, and I managed to play the game that way. My opponent tried to full loss, but I reminded him that he cannot full loss me while he has cards, and he had the Freezing Chains. So that was round 3. Round 4, I played against Snake Eye Azamina Mimikul, and I open shifter. Yeah. So round 4 was over. I open shifter both games. He did not open a single Mimikul card. He then showed me the deck, and he showed me how the Mimikul stuff plays around this. But it's unfortunate. He opened Witch, and he opened Witch Engine, and I opened this, which is one of the reasons I didn't like playing the Witch Engine in Fire Kings. Round 5 was against Labrynth. Shout out to Michel Rosado. He won the entire event. And that was a really, really great match. I won the die roll. And I already knew that he was on Labrynth. Because I was next to him on top tables. And I saw him playing the deck 2 weeks ago. So I was already familiar with him playing that deck. And one card I did miss, just because of that matchup alone, was IP Masquerena. Just making IP into SP to banish one of their back row, and it would have been really, really helpful. I also opened Cosmic Cyclone for another one of his back row. So he did resolve Equation Cannons on me for 4 cards, but the issue with that is I had I think it was Elder Rampengu. No, it was Elder Conahawk. I had Elder Conahawk. No, it was Elder Rampengu. I had Elder Rampengu, and I have not normal summoned yet. So after he Equation Cannoned my board, my bad. It was not Rampengu. Now I remember. It was Elder plus Wen. Yeah, these 2 cards. So after he Equation Cannoned for my entire board, I went normal Elder, normal Wen, special summon one of the banished Ritual Beasts that got removed by the cannon, and I started playing the game. 1 turn later, he opened Skill Drain, and I lost game 1 because of a really big misplay. So essentially what happened was he resolved a Big Welcome Labrynth the turn prior to grab the Lady Labrynth, and I committed my Ritual Beast board into summoning Ulti Gaia Paleo to just swing over the Lady Labrynth, and I really did not have to do that at all. All I had to do was just set Steeds and pass, make him on better have another Labrynth name. Otherwise, I cleared his monsters with my Steeds. But upon doing that, I summoned this. I attacked. He did Big Welcome to bounce it, and then I'm losing the grind game because he had Tears of the Underroot to just take care of my cards on the board and play around the Laura in my graveyard. Game 2, it was a war of attrition. Honestly, the Labrynth matchup is not really that hard against this specific version of the deck, because I did play a lot of power spells. And again, this goes back to my explanation on Ritual Beast. Ritual Beast is just really, really strong at securing the mid to late game. Against almost any deck in the game, Ritual Beast is just really, really strong. If you play properly. My grind game is way better than Labrynth's. if they don't have their trap cards going. So even under the skill drain, which they had game 2, I played around it, and yeah, it was enough to do well. So I won that round. No, my bad. I did not win that round. We went to game 3, and it was a tie. We went into time, and I don't play burn cards. My opponent doesn't play burn cards either. Just fair Yu-Gi-Oh. Round 6 was against the Tenpai Dragons. They make me go first. Upon hindsight, just me knowing the matchup, I tried to combo so I can Protoss lock them, but I got impulsed on one of my monsters. I think it was I got impulsed on my Lara effect, and I really that did not bother me at all, because them impulsing Lara meant I am no longer afraid of Nibiru, and that means they have no real other hand trap. They can really just stop my turn if I can keep going, and I just kept playing the game. There was one point where they banished my Lara because I did put it back on the graveyard with Ulticanahawk. Like, I did the Ulticanahawk shuffle technique. I put the Lara back in graveyard. There was a point where they summoned Bestial Magnamut and they banished my Lara. And I did open Talents. So that played right into Talents, and I went Talents to look at their hand. They had a Fadra and a Genroku and a Crossout. I just put back the Crossout into their hand. And part of my end board, I ended on Ulti Raytiari. And for those who don't know about Raytiari's secret effect, because I definitely almost forgot, Raytiari makes it so your opponent cannot tribute monsters for card effects. So if they go Magnamut to add Genroku, they cannot tribute the Genroku. The Genroku just stays. And I ended up on Ulti Raytiari with Cyclone and Steeds. And this was enough to win the game. I did have Ulticanahawk as well, because they went Hydra to get Sanguine Summoning to discard to add Chandra. They special summon Chandra, and then I just went Steeds. I chained Kanahawk to blow up their board, and then I chained this Cosmic Cyclone to banish the field spell, and they cannot tribute the Genroku to dodge it because of Ulti Raytiari. So I blew up their entire board, and that was enough to win the game. Game 2, I pseudo bricked. Like, my hand was sort of playable, but it was not playable enough to play around Heretic Seal, and I did not open Strong Non-Engine for him. In Game 3, my opponent opened Ash, Impulse, Impermanence, and I played through all those 3 cards. And my end board was Raytiari, Colossus, Protoss, they negated my Protoss, so I could not like Firelock him out of the game. And I think there was something else. He drew a second Impermanence for turn, and the Impermanence negated my Colossus. However, I did open Steeds with Raytiari, and I already saw their hand with Talents, so they really had no way to play around everything. They tried to do Genroku, Sanguine Summoning for Genroku, but again, Raytiari just plays around that, so that was enough for me to win the game. So last round was against Yubel. Yubel Fiendsmith, Unchained, whatever you want to call it. And I bricked game 1, which I'm not really that surprised. Like that was the only other die roll that I won, and my hand was not that bad. Like my hand was this, teleport, and trying to think of something, and there was one other card. Like my hand was almost playable. The only thing that would have made this hand almost perfect. Oh, and the last card was Talents. This was my hand. This hand looks really, really good on paper. The issue with this hand is there's nothing in this hand that makes any play playable because Teleport is not a starter in this deck. It is an extender. So I really needed one Ritual Beast name, and this hand would have been perfect. If this Teleport was any Ritual Beast name, or this Inheritance was a Ritual Beast name, I probably would have won the regional. But sadly, it was not. I had to set these two and pass. And my Yubel opponent, I stopped him for another turn. And I think for a turn, I drew into Steeds. So, last game 1. And game 2, there were I did open Lara Rampengu, which is not bad. This is playable. However, in part of my combo that I've been playing, my opponent ends up like doing Ash and Imperm on 2 pivotal points, so I cannot Nemesis lock them. So I have to rely on an M board with my back row in order to secure the game. There is one misplay that I did, and is I did not summon Noku Drago before the impulse choke, the Imperm choke point, and that probably would have helped me around the Imperm a lot better. And another misplay is, so my end board was Kimun Falcos, Otikanahawk, and I had Cosmic, Steeds, Inheritance, Book of Eclipse. This was my end board. This was my end board against my opponent, and I just told myself, hey, you know, I hope this non-engine carries me, and I'm able to play the game. He opened Lightning Storm, and he Lightning Stormed my entire back row. And I did not die this turn. I even had follow-up for next turn. But if Yubel gets to play the game, and you have no way to stop them, they'll just win. Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. If they didn't open Lightning Storm, I probably would have won. Like, this probably would have been enough to stop them. But sadly, they opened it. There's nothing I could have done about that. So that's the summary behind the deck. Again, deck overperformed. I have nothing to say against this deck. I think this list was pretty much almost perfect. I did not regret a single deck choice. So cards I did not resolve. I did not resolve to barrier a single time. This never happened. I think Dominus Purge was the MVP of my side deck. I did resolve this card a lot. This card did stop a lot of cards. I never opened DeFi. I never had to side. Well, I did side the Duster, but I never drew it. I only drolled once. I don't think I Ash Blossomed anybody. I did not Ash Full Loss either. Every time they had Full Loss, I did not have the Ash. I only resolved Shifter one match. Shifter did not carry my event at all. And as far as the Nemesis cards, I did not Protoss lock anybody this event, so whoever says I get carried by Protoss, nope, you can shut up about that. That never happened. I did summon Colossus a few times, so I will say that Colossus did contribute this event. But every games 2 and 3, I cited out the Nemesis engine for two reasons. Reason number one, because 2 of the 3 Nemesis cards conflict with Dominus Purge, and I really wanted no cards. I did not want any dead draws if I had to purge someone. The other thing about the Nemesis card is a lot of post game ones. Like historically, me playing at locals, I've lost a good amount of games because I drew into my Nemesis cards, and I had no way to summon them. So I just decided to cut the middleman, say just play with my engine, and just call it a day. And for the most part, it worked. So no, Nemesis did not carry me this event. No, Shifter did not carry me this event at all. Like at all. I did not barrier anybody, so this also didn't work. Most of my matches against the 2, except for the 2 Snake Eyes in the Yubel, like almost every other match did not care about Shifter at all. So Purge was good. I like Baguska was okay. Cross Ship was insane. Like I don't regret this choice at all. I think that's it for deck report. I don't think I have anything else to add. We did it. We have invite for Nats. Like if our channel has almost 400 followers, so if we do get to the follower mark, I might give this mat away. Or I'll do other giveaways. I'll think about it. But yeah, I hope you found this informative to your liking and understanding. I think until Crossover Breakers, this deck is fine. I don't think this deck is a bad choice this format. Whoever says this deck is bad this format just really doesn't know the deck. Like, it's not an amazing deck this format either. It's not like in the top 5 or anything. But if we're going to play against a lot of mid-range decks, which is pretty much what everybody's doing, like in Flawless format, I think this deck is fine. Another side note I want to talk about is post Crossover Breakers. I think we're going to be in a heavy non-engine format, pretty much a format where the non-engine will dictate your matches. So I found these choices in my deck as a prelude of preparing for like what's going to happen post Crossover Breakers, because I think once that format begins, we'll be seeing a lot of non-engine, a lot more. And yeah, I'm rambling at this point. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Until next week, keep practicing and keep dueling.